The concrete walls of the parking garage seemed to close in, amplifying the silence. Shadows stretched from the sparsely parked cars, their outlines blurry under the flickering fluorescent lights. The air hung heavy and still, the smell of exhaust fumes and forgotten rain. But on this night, the unsettling feeling was about to become terrifyingly real for one young woman. The day had begun like any other. The sun was shining, casting long shadows across the bustling city streets. Our young woman, her name is Sarah, joined the throng, her thoughts consumed by an upcoming presentation at work and the errands that cluttered her to-do list. As the afternoon wore on, she found herself in a familiar parking garage, a concrete behemoth tucked away in the labyrinthine heart of the city. He threw her into the trunk with a thud that reverberated through her bones. The air inside was thick and stale, a suffocating darkness pressing down on her. Panic surged through her veins, threatening to consume her. The engine roared to life, the sound vibrating through the trunk, a terrifying soundtrack to her worst nightmare. But even in the face of unimaginable terror, a flicker of defiance ignited within her. The phone was slick with her tears, the screen a blur in the stifling darkness. Sarah's fingers trembled as she struggled to key in the familiar numbers, her mind racing ahead, picturing the sterile calm of the 911 dispatch center. With a surge of relief she heard the faint ringing tone, each shrill beep a testament to the improbable hope that someone, somewhere, could hear her plea. She pressed the phone tighter to her ear, her breath catching in her throat as a calm, authoritative voice answered, 911, what is your emergency? On the other end of the line, seasoned 911 dispatcher Janice sat up straighter, her professional calm momentarily shaken by the sheer terror in the whispered plea. Janice's training kicked in, her voice a soothing balm of authority and reassurance. Stay calm, ma'am, we're going to help you. Can you tell me anything about where you are, what you can see? She asked, her fingers already flying across the keyboard. It's dark, I can't see anything, Sarah whispered back, her voice thin and reedy. The seconds ticked by with agonizing slowness, each one a small eternity in the confined space of the trunk. Sarah's hand cramped around the phone, her grip a testament to her sheer will to survive. Can you hear me, ma'am? Are you still there? Janice's voice, a thread of urgency creeping into her professional calm. Yes, I'm here, please hurry. Janice kept up a steady stream of conversation, her voice a soothing presence in the terrifying darkness that enveloped Sarah. Each word Sarah spoke, every bit of information she could provide, was relayed to the team working tirelessly to find her. Sarah's phone signal, faint and intermittent though it was, provided a glimmer of hope. With each passing moment, the net tightened, the search area narrowing, bringing them closer to the terrified woman trapped in the trunk of a speeding car. Inside the bustling hive of the 911 dispatch center, a different kind of urgency pulsed through the room. We've got a hit on her phone, a young dispatcher announced, his voice tight with concentration. Signals bouncing off a cell tower near Highway 16 heading west. The map on the main screen, a tapestry of digital streets and landmarks, held their collective attention. Dispatch all available units to Highway 16 westbound, Janice commanded, her voice calm but firm. The manhunt for Sarah's captor was now in full swing, a desperate race against time. The initial trickle of police cruisers morphed into a steady stream, their flashing lights painting the asphalt with streaks of red and blue. The statewide alert, broadcast on every radio station and news channel, transformed ordinary citizens into potential witnesses. The collective will of a community, fueled by a shared sense of outrage and a desperate hope, was now focused on finding Sarah. Miles away, oblivious to the massive search effort underway, a lone truck driver named Mark was making his usual haul down Highway 16. The setting sun cast long shadows across the highway, painting the landscape in hues of orange and purple. But on this evening, something broke through the monotony of the drive, something that tugged at the edges of his awareness. A dark sedan, a few cars ahead, was behaving erratically, weaving in and out of lanes with a reckless abandon that was impossible to ignore. The news bulletin crackled through his CB radio, the urgency in the announcer's voice cutting through the static. "Attention all motorists. Be on the lookout for a dark-colored sedan with a broken taillight. The vehicle is suspected to be involved in a kidnapping." He glanced at his rearview mirror, scanning the road behind him. There it was, a dark sedan matching the description. He reached for his CB radio, his hand trembling slightly. "Breaker 19, this is Big Rig 18, do you copy? Dark sedan, broken taillight, heading west on Highway 16. He could only hope someone was listening. The dispatcher, a young man named Kevin, was about to dismiss Mark's call as a false alarm, another case of heightened awareness in the wake of a widely publicized crime. He'd fielded dozens of similar calls since the Amber Alert went out, each one raising hopes only to dash them against the rocks of reality. But there was something in Mark's voice, a quiet conviction that gave him pause. "Big Rig 18, this is dispatch," Kevin responded, his voice betraying a hint of cautious optimism. "Can you give me a more detailed description of the vehicle? What makes you think it's the one we're looking for?" He needed more than just a hunch. He needed something concrete to justify diverting valuable resources. Mark, his eyes glued to the sedan ahead, rattled off the details. "It's a dark blue or black Ford Taurus, I think. Definitely a sedan. The driver's side taillight is busted and it's swerving all over the road like he's either drunk or trying to shake a tail." His voice, usually calm and measured, was edged with adrenaline, his instincts screaming at him that this was more than just a coincidence. "And you say it matches the description of the suspect vehicle?" Kevin pressed, his fingers already dancing across the keyboard, bringing up the Amber Alert details on his screen. "Can you tell me anything about the driver?" He needed something, anything to corroborate Mark's story. Mark, his attention split between the road ahead and the drama unfolding in his rearview mirror, struggled to get a clear look at the driver. "Can't make out much," he reported, his voice tight with concentration. "He's wearing a baseball cap, pulled down low. Looks like a Caucasian male, but it's hard to tell from this distance." He adjusted his side mirror, trying to get a better angle. "Stay with him, Big Rig 18, Kevin instructed, his voice calm but firm. "We're dispatching a unit to your location now. Maintain a safe distance, but do not, I repeat, do not engage." He knew the danger of vigilante justice, especially in a situation as volatile as this. Mark, his heart pounding against his ribs, eased off the accelerator, maintaining a steady distance behind the Taurus. He wasn't a law enforcement officer, he was just a truck driver who happened to be in the right place at the right time. But he was also a father, and the thought of that young woman trapped in the trunk fueled his determination. He watched as the Taurus continued its erratic course, weaving between lanes, its brake lights flashing intermittently as if the driver was struggling to maintain control. Mark, his CB radio crackling with updates from dispatch, relayed every detail, every twitch of the sedan's trajectory, his voice a steady stream of information in the otherwise silent cab of his truck. Back at the dispatch center, Kevin worked with the precision of an orchestra conductor, coordinating the movements of law enforcement officers on the ground with the information flowing in from Mark's CB radio. The air crackled with the static of radio chatter, the clipped voices of officers weaving a tapestry of urgency and determination. "Unit 304, we have a visual on the suspect vehicle," Kevin announced, his voice echoing through the dispatch center. "Black Ford Taurus, broken taillight, heading westbound on Highway 16, approaching mile marker 215. Big Rig 18 is trailing the vehicle, maintaining a safe distance." The map on the main screen, a digital representation of the unfolding drama, showed the positions of the suspect vehicle, Mark's truck, and the rapidly approaching police cruisers. The red dot, representing Sarah's phone signal, pulsed steadily, a beacon of hope in the tightening noose of the manhunt. "Unit 304, hold your position," Kevin directed, his voice calm but firm. "We want to make this a smooth stop, minimize the risk to the victim." He knew that any sudden movement, any hint of aggression from the pursuing officers, could trigger a volatile reaction from the suspect. The tension in the truck cab was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Mark, his hands gripping the steering wheel, watched as two police cruisers, lights flashing but sirens silent, fell into formation behind the suspect vehicle. They were close enough now that he could see the driver, a shadowy figure silhouetted against the setting sun, his head swiveling nervously as he scanned his rearview mirror. The police cruisers, their movements coordinated with a precision that spoke of countless hours of training, boxed in the Taurus, effectively trapping it in a rolling cage of flashing lights and blaring sirens. The sedan, its escape route cut off, slowed to a crawl, finally coming to a stop on the shoulder of the highway. Mark, his heart still pounding in his chest, pulled his rig over a safe distance away, his eyes glued to the scene unfolding before him. He watched as officers, their weapons drawn, approached the Taurus with cautious steps, their voices sharp and commanding as they ordered the driver to exit the vehicle. The driver, his face pale and drawn, emerged from the car with his hands raised in surrender. He offered no resistance as the officers swiftly apprehended him, their movements practiced and efficient. The sound of handcuffs clicking shut echoed through the still evening air, a sound that for Sarah signaled the end of her nightmare and the beginning of her journey back to freedom. The tension on the highway dissipated as officers secured the suspect. Mark watched, relieved. He listened to the CB radio, hearing "victim safe." A wave of emotion washed over him. He thought of his daughter and felt grateful. He had played his part, trusted his instincts, and saved a life. The metallic groan of the trunk hinges echoed in the stillness. A young officer with kind eyes helped Sarah out, her touch reassuring. The blinding sunlight made Sarah wince, a welcome reminder of life. She emerged shaky and disoriented, her body aching. Strong arms steadied her, guiding her to the ambulance. She glanced back at the sedan, its dark windows seared into her memory. The story of Sarah's abduction and dramatic rescue captivated the nation. News outlets, hungry for a glimmer of hope in a world often consumed by darkness, seized upon the narrative, its themes of courage, quick thinking, and the kindness of strangers resonating deeply with a public weary of bad news. Sarah, once an anonymous face in the crowd, became a symbol of resilience, her story a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Her ordeal, broadcast into living rooms across the country, sparked conversations about safety, about vigilance, about the importance of trusting one's instincts. But more than anything, it served as a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can emerge from the most unexpected places. Mark, thrust into the spotlight by his heroic actions, shunned the label of hero. He was, he insisted, just a man who had done what he hoped anyone else would have done in his position. But his humility, his quiet dignity, only served to amplify the public's admiration. He became a reluctant symbol of everyday heroism, a reminder that ordinary people are capable of extraordinary acts of courage. The events of that day, etched into the annals of law enforcement history, served as a case study in the power of technology, training, and collaboration. Sarah's 911 call, a desperate whisper amplified by the tireless efforts of dispatchers, law enforcement officers, and a vigilant truck driver, had set in motion a chain of events that had culminated in her safe return. Life, as it always does, eventually returned to a semblance of normalcy. The headlines faded, the news cycle moved on, and the collective gasp of horror that had gripped the nation subsided. But for Sarah, and for all those whose lives had been touched by her ordeal, the world would never quite be the same. The scars, both physical and emotional, lingered, a constant reminder of the fragility of life, the ever-present potential for darkness to intrude upon the ordinary. But so too did the memories of courage, of compassion, of the unwavering belief that even in the face of unimaginable terror, hope could prevail. Sarah, forever changed by her experience, emerged from the darkness with a renewed appreciation for the preciousness of life, the simple joys that had once been taken for granted. The warmth of the sun on her face, the laughter of loved ones, the feeling of solid ground beneath her feet. These were no longer mundane details, but rather extraordinary gifts to be cherished and celebrated. And as she sipped her morning coffee, the steam swirling like wisps of memory, she offered a silent prayer of gratitude for the truck driver she had never met, the dispatcher whose calm voice had guided her through the darkness, and the countless others whose actions, both big and small, had conspired to bring her home. They were, she knew, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a beacon of hope in a world that so often seemed determined to extinguish it.